Again, we have a keynote speaker, the person who is really responsible for founding the quantum information science program here in New Mexico. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce distinguished Emeritus Professor Carl Caves. Carl is really a luminary and a pioneer in so many ways. When he was a PhD, so we heard some people bandy around the term quantum sensing. We didn't really talk about in great detail, but quantum sensing is the idea that somehow you can improve your ability to see the tiniest signals in the universe by manipulating the noise that quantum mechanics dictates. Well, the person who really invented that idea is Professor Carl Caves, who had the brilliant idea that you can use squeezed light to improve our ability to detect gravity waves. And that's now in use. And we were seeing all kinds of cosmological phenomenon due to an idea from 1980. So yeah, take the long term. Carl came to UNM in 1992 and formed the information physics group before there was something called the quantum information physics, because the idea that information was physical was understood by Carl well before many of us. And I got inspired by that myself. And that's why I joined the faculty here. Luckily, they gave me a chance to do that in 1995. Carl has many of the alumni studied with Carl, and we'll hear from them a little bit later. Carl is currently a distinguished visiting research faculty or research professor or something like that, but very distinguished at Perimeter Institute. And that's one of the premier theoretical physics institutes in the world. So thank you, Carl, for agreeing to do this, and I'll turn over the stage to you.
I have to tell you, when you start being referred to as a founder and luminary, it's kind of frightening. But anyway, maybe it's sort of remotely correct. So I'm supposed to give the keynote talk, and my initial idea for what a keynote speaker is supposed to do is a keynote speaker is a person who can riff about whatever he wants to, and is confident enough that people don't walk out before they're finished. So maybe I still think that, but I decided maybe I should look and see what a keynote speaker is. So I brought up yesterday on my phone the Merriam-Webster definition of a keynote speaker, and I'm going to read it to you. One who delivers a keynote address. I'm going to have to put this down for a second because I thought they had a link here to keynote address, and I confidently expect, and this page does, so I'll just put that in separately. So I thought when I got to keynote address that I would find an address given by a keynote speaker. But in fact, it's a little better than that. Let's see. God, I don't know how to use my own phone. Here we are. Oh, God. Definition of keynote address. An address designed to present the issues of primary interest to an assembly, such as a political convention, and often to arouse unity and enthusiasm. Woo! Synonyms are, this is really frightening. All over. Put those in there. Now we might have forget that. If you look elsewhere, you will find all sorts of advice about how to give a keynote address. And the main thing you will find is that a keynote speaker is supposed to set the tone of whatever meeting or session the address, the keynote speaker is speaking to. So I look at that, keynote, tone, maybe I'm supposed to be singing. And that is a threat. Some of you know that I do sing when I give my regular talk these days, but those of you who are going out the door, no, I'm not gonna sing. I resisted that. I decided that what tone and key issues actually means is key points. So I'm gonna address key points. And this is definitely an inside joke only for my current collaborator, Chris Jackson. He knows I'm a heck of a lot bigger on keynotes, key points than keynotes. Everything I do is a key point. But I'll try to restrict myself today with what I think are the key points. So what are the key points of this session this afternoon? So they get to the first key point, maybe a little bit of history is called for. I came to UNM in 1992 and Ivan, I believe in 95 or 96, 95. And along about 2002, as a consequence of various maneuvers, Ivan was appointed the director of the Center for Advanced Studies. And that was really, although Ivan and I had been thinking about how to build a group in quantum information. Quantum information was the main word that was used at the time. And we had a number of very good students even by 2002, but we decided to get serious about building an effort in quantum information. And along about 2009, we got our first NSF Center grant. And I was made the director of what we renamed the Center for Quantum Information and Control. And we continued to build a group here. So what does building a group mean? It means two things. It means building a strong effort intellectually and research-wise in quantum information. Or it could mean trying to get people to give you more money. And we were up to both of those. But I have to say we were considerably more fortunate with the first. We were very fortunate, and later with our colleagues, Akimasa Miyake, Elohim Becerra, Elad Marvian, and Susan Atlas, at attracting extremely good students and postdocs to the University of New Mexico. I'll get to the pushing to get more money and make a bigger structure. That wasn't so easy to do. But we had an excellent experience. And the first key point is all of you whom you'll meet, many of whom you'll meet in the alumni session, you are the foundation for our success here. Our alumni, postdocs, and students, you are the foundation of our success. Because that's how we built what I consider to be a powerhouse in the United States in quantum information science. I've been talking to several of our students since yesterday when everybody started arriving. And a lot of them say, we had a very good experience at UNM, and my response to, and I hope to hear more about that in the alumni panel. And my response to that is, you had a good experience. We had a good experience because we get to stay here and continue to have a good experience in the same place, but with new students. And it's kind of it's the downside of having students. Your job is to send them out there and do stuff. And I think we're going to hear a lot about how the students that we produce and the postdocs that we produce are out there in the world of quantum information science as leaders now. So that's the first key point. When I say we built a center here, that was important. I mean, we built on a foundation of extraordinary research, and that was founded on our postdocs and our students. Now let's get back to that second point about actually finding more resources. And building a bigger entity. I would say Ivan and I plugged away at that for a long time. And nothing really happened until I retired in 2018 and I became director of the Senate. Now, there probably are lots of factors involved in that. The opportunity for building a bigger effort suddenly got better 2018, 2020, because the federal government decided to pour a ton of money in. So that was certainly a factor. But the other factor is Ivan is a heck of a lot better than I was at building a bigger structure. And what you are seeing today, the introduction of this new bigger structure, there's lots of people involved in that, but the one essential person is Ivan Deutsch. There's a lot of people not only at UNM, but also at Sandia were involved in building that bigger structure. But it is Ivan that has made it happen. Now, you will note that Ivan took over in 2018, and what is it now? 6 years later. So this is not meant to say that was an easy task that Ivan had. He's had to plug away pretty big time to see the bigger structure that we're seeing now. What's that bigger structure going to mean? It's going to mean that we have a center here at UNM that is a center that reports to the Vice President for Research. That will now be called the New Mexico Institute, I believe. That bigger structure will be staffed by a lot of additional faculty. It will be tasked with building yet further ties to our colleagues at Sandia, and we hope at Los Alamos. We already have very close ties with our colleagues at Sandia, but this will be a new, bigger effort that will involve effectively recognizing that there is a community of quantum scientists in northern New Mexico that are an entity that is a leader in the United States of America and worldwide. So it will mean that, and it will also mean involving private sector entities who might pop up here or might be elsewhere. We hope they'll be here. And that's going to mean a change in the way we operate as, so when I say we, actually, I'm retired. I don't do anything. It will mean a difference. It will mean a difference in the way the center here at UNM operates. So let me, keynote speaker, key points. Our success is founded on our former students and postdocs with whom we built a intellectual and research powerhouse here in northern New Mexico. And moving to the next level is what is happening now. And the person who's responsible for making that happen is Ivan Deutsch. Thanks.